didn't get my negative COVID test results back yet. I just found
I
out.
looked at this.
I went in for.
Oh, yeah,
yesterday
and it
morning
was
to get
catch
results.
up with me later on that.
Well, I went to the school one thinking it would be.
All right, we'll
I
call
did
this
that
meeting to
quick, it was
order.
quick, and then she's like, oh, we don't have the other rapid.
Will you please join me in the pledge to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I need a motion for the adoption of the agenda and consent agenda as an order of business with the identification of items to be taken off the consent agenda for discussion or separate action.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. A reminder, our mission is to encourage everyone to see and be his or her personal best through the successful learning experience. Become your best. Now we need to consider approval of the consent agenda as adopted. Approve the minutes of the December 21st, 2021 Board of Education meeting. Approve financial report for the period July 1, 2021 through December 31st of 2021. And approve bills for the period of December 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021 in the amount of $2,608,046.26.
So moved.
Motion is second. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Board District Leadership, Strategic Planning. Legislative update, Dan.
Yes, we met as a county group of district administrators on Monday and had a discussion with our legislators, and we continued. The purpose of this, again, is for them to run legislation or propose legislation past us, if it deals with education, get our opinion on it, but then also for us to advocate for things that we need or would like to see in education. So as of this meeting, there was currently, according to Devin Lemieux, there are 0 bills that are dealing with education coming through or that have been proposed coming from the legislature. But we continue to advocate for an increase in per pupil revenue limit so that, again, we talked about the fiscal cliff. They reiterated that everybody's going to be coming looking for money. We reiterated that, the legislature completely controls our spending and our funding, and that it's not just, looking for money. We need kids to be educated, and there are ongoing expenses. So we're having an ongoing debate about the money that could be spent for an increase in per pupil aid. We did also talk about some other options. We all know that there are increases in costs related to things like mental health and special education. And so we asked about and advocated for if there is a more palatable to them use of funds where they could target funding to just areas like special education or mental health or helping to deal with what people believe will be a pretty good spike in health insurance costs related to COVID upcoming. So all of those things combined, we continue to advocate for those things, as well as in the old classics of local control and the fact that the board should make decisions and that legislature should stay up here and the board should run the district. So those kinds of things are what we always talk about.
Great, thank you. Mm-hmm. Any questions for Dan on his update? All right, moving on. Designation of available spaces for regular and special education open enrollment. You or?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, we weren't sure if Ann was going to be here tonight, but she is here
I see
tonight.
she's
So
in the audience,
she is
so-
here and ready to go. So Ann
There it
Demoki
is.
will take it away.
Well, this is an annual event that we have to all go through, and I know that on your past committee of the whole meeting, you spent some time talking about this, but What we need to do tonight, according to state statute, is determine if in state, and make it public, like what open seats we would have for our general education seats as well as special ed. And because of some very historic events this year, for the history of our district, we am not really certain why this happened, but since the start of the school year, we have had 37 new special education students move into our community and live, here. And that has certainly made a difference as we looked at this whole question about gen ed seats and special ed seats, and because it just really has had an impact to what our capacity is really capable of taking in. Like Dan just was talking about the legislature, like when that many children come, there has to be adults who care for them and spend their days with them. And so, unlike other years we've been able to say that we have seats available maybe in certain places. But this year, the recommendation that you have before you from the administration is that there will be unlimited availability of seats for regular education for open enrollment for the 22-23 school year. But that it has been determined that there is no space available for special ed in the grades early childhood through grade 12. And that there is no space available for students looking for services under like speech, occupational therapy, physical therapy, or any of the CISA contracted services of vision, hearing, impaired and orientation and mobility. These are all services that we contract for through CISA. We did, however, because this is another part of the statute that we have to address, we did talk about how currently attending open enrollment regular education applicants will be guaranteed a special education seat if they are in a referral or looking at that, meaning these are students who are already here and they're here under open enrollment. And maybe there's been a question about whether they need special ed services. So if they're already here, you have the opportunity to say yes, they can stay. But we are making the recommendation, and this would be different than we've done in the past, that if there are families who have elected to move out of our district, that we would say there are no seats left for them in special ed. So if a family would move out and then ask to come back and need a special ed seat, that we would say that those not be approved. So that is the recommendation, because of this influx of just students that have moved in.
All right, so just on the very last point, just put the words in different terms, I believe, just for my understanding. So if a family moves out and they have a special needs child, and then they choose to choice back in, because of our resource constraints, we're saying they can't choice back in. That's...
They could request, like any family can request, but we would say no. There is no room.
Because we don't.
And it's just that as we look at this, the state statute allows us to make some allowances for those things.
Okay.
And in the past, we've been able to do that. We've been able to say, even though we're closing our seats for special ed, if you were here,
Sure.
and you were you were known to us, you could have said we would give consideration to those families and they could stay. But I guess our recommendation as administrators is we just don't feel we have the capacity to continue to do that next year. That if you move out and then want to apply to come back in, we're going to say no, we are closed to special ed.
Okay. All right. Everyone understand that?
You have it printed for you, so that, you know.
Okay.
Right.
It's in your papers.
Right. And you mentioned that this is an annual requirement, so we revisit this again next year.
Yeah, you will
So it's
certainly
not
get a chance to
first
revisit
ed.
it. And I'm really hoping that our news and movements, of course, we always welcome, new people to our community. It's not that, it's just, it's really a pretty large number. I mean, it's not typical in any means. And so I'm just not sure what that's about. But it has impacted, I mean, as you can
Right.
understand.
Sure. Okay, then I need a motion.
I move that we go ahead with the recommendation for the approval of open enrollment spaces as presented by the administration.
I second.
Is there more discussion on this? Any other questions? And all in favor say yes?
Yes. Yes.
Opposed? All right. Thanks. Thanks, Ann. Finance, Building and Grounds. Approval of the acceptance of the 2020-2021 audit report, Amy.
Yes.
So we have to approve what you gave us. right?
Well, I fully expect that everyone read this and is ready for the pop quiz that I have for you.
I have a
Yes,
question
you
on
just
page
need to.
27.
What's that?
On page 27.
Yes, what about it?
She's ready.
I'm ready.
I'm good.
I know it's on page 27. No, we talked about it at the committee of the whole meeting, and we just need the approval.
And as always, it was a good report.
Yep,
And
it
we're
was a good
doing everything
report.
right.
Mhm,
All right.
we did.
So we need a motion to approve.
Make a motion that we accept the 2021, 2021 audit report. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say yes.
Yes. Yes.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Facility update. Dan?
Yeah, I just wanted to give a little update about some of our facility projects that we do. As you know, we, with the approval of the board, every year try to pick off a couple of bigger ticket maintenance items so we can kind of stay ahead of things in our buildings. A number of buildings, and some of the buildings are a little bit older and things need fixing. So I just want to give an update on a couple of them. There were two maintenance items that were originally listed with the referendum as potential things we could do if we had enough money. They were ultimately decided against at the time of the referendum, just because we thought, get the things done, prioritize the things that we needed to get done. Well, at the end, there was a little bit of money left, and as you know, because you approved these things, we were able to add a couple back in. So one of those is what's called the HIP boiler, and it is the boiler that is for the warming and cooling months of where you're transitioning from winter to summer and spring to, or winter to spring and fall to winter, to keep the humidity out of the air and to do a certain part of this building that wasn't conditioned in the past. And so that unit was approved, and it's here, it's installed, it's in place, and they're doing the plumbing and they are doing the electrical work on it right now. And so it should be hopefully up and running. Rohde Brothers has been here quite a bit, so it should be up and running for the transition to spring. So that's good news. With what we've all heard about supply chain, you're never quite sure where things are going to be. The other one, the state had reserved a little bit of one-time money expenditure out of the ARPA funds, the ESSER funds, I should say. And so those funds needed to be expensed this year. We had another item that we had on the list to do, which was the pool HVAC. That unit, and you approved that. That unit has been ordered. It's a 25-week wait time, but it is going to be here in time for us to do the work and get it installed, and, well, if everything goes as planned right now, during the summer months. And so that should be good, and we'll have an air exchange going on in that pool that is up to snuff. They can do some of that work for the installation prior to it arriving as well, so that's what they'll be working on. One other item that was a potential during the referendum was some of the water drainage and all of that around the Fairview. If you're familiar with Fairview, it's the east side of the school where the playground is. a lot of the water has been taken care of. We have, during the referendum, we took that water and it runs now into the storm sewer. But it just is a low area, and it still has some needs. And it was one of the options that we could have worked on, is just kind of regrading that and putting some drain tile there, or French drains, and then running that out to the city sewer line. And so that is in the works, and our engineers are looking at pricing for how much that might be. And so we're looking forward to hopefully being able to get a solution for that using a couple of those leftover referendum dollars and have that work done in summertime. A couple things, you got to get pricing on some of that, and then also there's permitting with water through the state and through the city and all of that. So we're working on that as well, and so hopefully those items can get completed and we can check all of those off the O&M plan moving into the future, and something else can move up the ladder.
Great.
That's my report.
Any questions for Dan? Then we'll move on. Period of public participation. Is there anyone signed up? No? And board liaison reports. Community ed, Sally.
Community ed has 4-year-old kindergarten registration happening. There's family swim still available on Saturdays. Find out go to Community Ed website and find out which weekends. They have a lot of other classes available for the community. Build your own wood projects. Have a very nice woodworking equipment down in the C wing. They have the fitness center available for the community, rock climbing, pickleball. Families with young kids, they have a family Friday play groups meeting every week. Also movies available. The next one is January 27th. It's Call of the Wild, which is held here at the high school. You do have to call and register, even though it's free, just to make sure there's enough people coming for them to go ahead and show it. A class on herbs for your winter health, and many others. That's it.
All right, thank you. Foundation report. I was sick last week, so I did not attend the foundation meeting other than to Zoom in, and, well, I guess I did attend, didn't I? I was there.
How sick were
I
you?
did. I was sick, though. It was, the foundation is hard at work, and mainly the discussion is just about the funds that we're generating and the proposals that are coming in from the district, and nice job. We're seeing some nice mini grants as well as large grants, and excited to get the money distributed and challenge the staff to come up with more things to enhance the learning experience. So, and moving on, family resource, Dan.
Thank you. Yeah, we operate 2 programs, Parents as Teachers and Literacy Council. Going first is the Parents as Teachers program. Just a quick update. We are continuing the home visits due to the high COVID numbers. They are currently trying to hire a parent educator, and once that person's hired, we are looking to hire another one. So if anybody knows of someone that's interested in that category of position, let us know. In December, parent educators delivered holiday gifts to our families that needed some support. These generous donations were made by Salem United Church of Christ, Generations, and Plymouth Fleet Farm, so thank you. The Literacy Council, we have upcoming virtual tutor training is offered in February. Volunteers are still signing up to be trained as tutors, and students are enrolling. Staff is giving pandemic safety guidelines if they are meeting in person. There are additional barriers right now for students to access services beyond the normal barriers. The city-wide system is cutting back hours, so transportation is even more difficult for them, as well as students report a significant amount of mandated overtime, so they're not able to meet with their tutors. And then lastly, we continue the conversation around who we can partner with to break down these barriers for our adult students. That is it. Thank you.
Personnel, support staff update.
Yes, we have one update, and don't need any action on this, but Gerald Fink, custodian at Plymouth High School, has submitted his retirement. Gerald's been with the district for 27 years.
Wow.
So again, thank you, Gerald, for all of your service over that time.
All right, items from consent agenda, no. President's report. Well, this will be brief. My report really is just a thank you to everyone in the district. Last 2 weeks ago, I got a chest cold, not COVID, thank goodness. But when I had to step back from doing my job, as well as what we do as a board, to have other people fill in, I really appreciate it. Thank you, Dan. But it just goes to show how we as a community, as a school district, how we support each other. So when we hear these stories about administrators going into the classroom, how teachers are covering, how different individuals are just taking up the mantle because someone else has stumbled because of this pandemic and everything else that's going on right now, it's just a real appreciation for this community, and thank you to everyone. This is a great place to be. And moving on, we'll go to superintendent report.
Great, thank you. And again, our thoughts are always kind of similar. It's almost like we talked about it.
And we didn't.
We didn't. But just a couple of things that when the board meetings are coming up, I ask the principals for examples of great things that are happening and things that they'd like to shout out to their staffs about. And there's always a lot of them, and just pick out a few. And just as an example, Jason Cole at Parkview just wanted to say thank you to his staff. And I know the other principals would echo it as well. It's because they've all been doing these same things, because they're working hard to have their classes staffed, and where people are out because their kids are quarantined, and it's the same everywhere. I was talking with people at Masters Gallery last week, and they've got people from the office working on the line. So everybody's doing it, and so are we. And this is really valuable work that educating children, and so people are jumping in and doing it. So Jason just wanted to mention that his staff has been doing great work, jumping in and covering for each other, and not just covering, but providing a quality education at the time when it's needed and when somebody can't be there. So thank you to everybody in the district, and Jason thanks his staff. And also he wanted to mention that the kids are having a lot of fun outside building forts and playing in the snow and all of that. So they're still kids, and sometimes we get talking about COVID and all the heavy issues of the day, but kids go outside and they play and they have fun. And if you go over to Horizon, they're rolling down the hill, and even when there's no snow, there's no snow. Wonder if kids that go to Horizon ultimately have more vertigo when they're older, or maybe less. I don't know. Another point at Riverview, a couple of different things. They have the entire 7th grade went to Acuity to explore their academic and career planning, and so that whole group went, and then also Jessica Barrington took a group of kids up to CESA 7 from some GT kids, and they did some STEAM work up there. So some nice field trips are still happening, and that's nice. We've had our numbers for, as one of our pillars, the extracurricular pillar, our numbers for athletics at the middle school have tended to be increasing over time here, and that is in light of the fact that our numbers of students is decreasing a little bit. It's flatter, a little bit decreasing, so that's a good thing. And then also, if you remember, you approved a number of years ago the intramural program at Riverview. So just so you know, a little update, there are about 120 kids currently that are doing intramurals on not a daily basis. They have to rotate them through because there's not enough room. But that number also includes a new thing that they're doing over there. We hired a person by the name of Christian Balbrecht, who is a Phi Ed teacher there, and he's got a weight and athletic training type of every other night for 4 nights a week thing going on. So some of those numbers, some of those 120 kids are in that as well, or maybe just on their own. So got a lot of kids that are doing things every night after school. And it's kind of nice because that intramurals, if you remember, was 5th and 6th graders. Well, Christian's taken the 7th and 8th graders, and those are the ones doing the weight training and the learning how to lift weights type of thing.
Oh,
So
that's great.
yeah, so nice stuff going on there. And then a couple of things happening in you can hear the athletics are still going on, and kind of a nice thing that we do. The boys basketball program had a military appreciation game on Saturday, if anybody got a chance to see that. And it was really nice because, and this has been happening for a few years, all the veterans that are there, and some come just for that game, they get a chance, they get introduced, their, a little bit of their history, where they served, all of that. And then the nice thing about this was, you know, unprompted at the end, everybody was done, the entire place stood up and they got a standing ovation, so that was really cool, yeah. And they've hosted youth nights as well to get some, you know, to connect with those little kids, the 3rd and 4th graders that are in the programs coming up, and so that was nice as well. And then on the academic side, in the continuation of discussions about our reading, we've been focusing a little bit more on the middle school and the elementary recently. But just as a note, the high school English is doing the same thing. And so they are, they've been really focusing on developing interest in reading. And because, as you know, as kids get older, their interest, probably on average, interest in reading decreases and interest in cell phones and other things and screens increases. And so they've been doing a lot of work and doing a lot of research. Dean has been doing a great job leading them. They did a book study this summer, all about things like choice and what would I like to read, and are there things that I would, you know, pick up and do, and how to build that and get kids wanting to read. And that's a hard hurdle to overcome. But our English department has jumped on board at the high school, and they're trying to coax that back out of kids. And so I think, you know, with Dina's leadership and the English department here, and Joe working hard on it as well, one of the English teachers wanted us to know that they are fully engaged. So
Nice.
there you go. A couple other notes here. If you notice on the agenda, just because the month falls kind of funny, just to take a look at your schedule, because sometimes you might schedule over some of these things, but our committee of the whole end for the next 2 months is on the 7th, and the regular is on the 15th. And because it's funny looking, so just take a look at your calendar in case you might have scheduled something there, okay? Other than that, continued good work by our district is always happening.
All right, well, thank you, Dan. And that takes us to item 15. I need a motion to adjourn, which makes this, I think, a record meeting in length of time. Does someone want to contemplate the adjournment for a few minutes?
We could debate it.
We could debate it, yeah.
Page 27.
Wow.
I'll make a
So,
motion to adjourn.
well, there's a motion. All right, all in favor, say yes? Yes. Opposed? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.